up, homegrown filmmakers? Today we are talking about how to write strong dialogue, part 4. Hello, and welcome to the last video of the Writing Dialogue series. If you haven't seen the last 3 videos, then there's links in the description to go check out what we've been talking about. So, for a strong dialogue scene, you need conflict, motivation, and character tactics. There's one last piece to the complicated puzzle that is dialogue, and that is the outcome of the scene. You figured out what your characters want and how they're going to try and get it, but the question remains, how is all of this going to go down? If 2 characters want conflicting things out of the scene, who wins? All of that is decided by you, the screenwriter. What are you trying to get out of the scene? How does it need to end to move the story forward? And how do you get your characters to where you want them to be? Every scene needs an arc, a progression. When you reach the end of a scene, the characters need to be further along in their story. In a dialogue scene, the arc is in the push and pull of the conflicting motivations and tactics. Character A is pushing character B to agree to something. Character B doesn't like that, so they get defensive. Character A keeps pushing, so character B switches to the offensive, making it clear why they won't agree. Push and pull. Action, reaction. This is the meat of the scene. You, the writer, need to push and pull your characters through the scene, bringing them to where you want them to be emotionally and mentally. Let's go back and look at that scene from The Princess Bride one more time.
Rest, Highness.
I know who you are. Your cruelty reveals everything.
Buttercup starts the dialogue off on the offensive, and Wesley brushes it off, throwing some digs her way.
Who was this love of yours? Another prince like this one? Ugly, rich, and scabby?
As she grows more insistent, he becomes angry and starts to lead her down the story to trap her. But when he takes on the offensive, Buttercup becomes defensive. In the end, she convinces him that she's telling the truth, which leads him to reveal himself.
As you wish.
For me, figuring out the arc of the scene is a lot like outlining the whole screenplay. I need to know what the end of the scene should be before I start writing it. I need to know where I'm trying to take these characters and what they need to get out of the scene for the story's sake. What is my goal for this scene as a writer? Once we take a step back from this scene from The Princess Bride, it's easy to see that the writer's goal was to get to the reveal. And he had to take the characters through the ups and downs of that conversation to bring them to the place where the reveal could actually happen. Another way you could say that is he had to take them from being angry at each other to realizing that they have both made wrong assumptions and that they loved each other. Now, it's important when you're writing your outline to include dialogue scenes, but it doesn't work to just say that there is a dialogue scene. Can you imagine for The Princess Bride what this scene would look like? Buttercup and Wesley have a conversation. That doesn't actually encompass how that scene will affect the story or the characters. What you need to be writing in your outline is outcomes of dialogue scenes. Buttercup and Wesley have a conversation that ends in him revealing himself to her. Let's take a look at some of the other clips that we watched. The Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. You could write it, Dastan and his brothers talk about what to do. But if you were to write it with the outcome, that would be so much more helpful in the writing stage. Dastan and his brothers talk about what to do. Tess decides they should attack Alamut, and Garsiv will lead the attack. Dastan is not happy about it. When you sit down to write that scene, you're confronted with a list of helpful questions. What makes Tess decide to attack? Why is Dastan unhappy about it? You can start digging into the motivations and the tactics to really start building your scene. Pirates of the Caribbean. Will talks to Norrington and Governor Swan. Here's if you were to write it with an outcome. Will talks to Norrington and Governor Swan, but they turn him away, making him frustrated. Writing the outcome leads the character right into the next scene. Because he's frustrated and desperate, in the very next scene, Will goes to Jack, hoping he will be able to help, kickstarting the main plot of the film. Outcomes drive your story and your characters forward, and when you're writing, they give you a goal to shoot for. So, to sum up writing dialogue, if you have well-developed characters, all you need to find is conflict. Conflict in motivations and in tactics to bring the characters to the outcome of your choice. Now, everything we've talked about in the last few episodes can seem overwhelming. It's a lot to think about and figure out as you're writing. But the truth is, you already subconsciously know all of this. You've been watching movies and reading books since you were young. We all have a sense of story and arcs and how dialogue should sound. You know what a good scene looks like. You watch them all the time. My goal in breaking down all of this structure and theory is to help you consciously know what's going on. Fill your toolbox with outcomes that you're heading for and well-developed characters with motivations and tactics and faults, and when you sit down to write those dialogue scenes, they can just flow from your innate sense of story. Like I said, the trick to writing strong dialogue is all in the setup. And that's what I got to say about dialogue. Thank you again, everybody, for sticking around to watch these videos. I've been talking about writing for a while, so I'm going to stop talking about writing and talk about some other stuff that I've been getting requests for. So look forward to more videos about acting, about directing, about all sorts of fun stuff. If you're interested in any of that and you'd like to see more videos from me, the Homegrown Filmmaker, hit subscribe, hit the little bell. I'm Annie Pulling Sweat, and I'm a homegrown filmmaker. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.